So I hope this morning, whether it's been something you've shared or not, you've been able to maybe think about what your biggest blessing today is. It might be a job that you've done, it might be an achievement in your life that you've been equipped for. It might be the house you live in, the fact you live in a house, or a bungalow, whatever you live in. Or it might be the fact that you have a car, or a new car, or anything like that. But it also might be something perhaps a little bit less tangible. It might be your family, the way you can be connected to your family, your friends, your neighbours, the people who encourage you and value you. It might even be your relationship with God. We're all saved, we're all blessed, aren't we? The reality is that when we start to think about our blessings, the list starts to go on and on, doesn't it? We can think of tiny little things to the big, huge, life-changing things. That song, Count Your Blessing, the chorus finishes, name them one by one, and it will surprise you what the Lord has done. And it surprises us because it's so true, isn't it? That God blesses us each and every day, and in ways that often we don't necessarily see, those blessings in disguise. I wonder how many of us here can think of even more than one blessing in disguise in our life. We just came up with those examples we shared with you this morning, as like just what came to mind. And it's amazing what things you're reminded of when you just start to think that through. We often use the phrase, we've dodged a bullet, don't we, as well sometimes, when we think about blessings in disguise. Maybe, we've shared things that happen that we're like, okay, maybe we'll see it as a blessing in the end. Sometimes things happen where things go horribly wrong or something we're actually really excited by. It's like maybe the pandemic is an example. We all have things that we're disappointed by because of the pandemic. But as Keith has shared, that time in the pandemic has allowed us to do different things, to maybe take some time to just think differently, which has been a blessing in disguise, hasn't it? We almost say it in hope, don't we, when we say a blessing in disguise, that perhaps this could be a blessing in disguise. We say it when we're not quite sure, but we're just hoping for the best. Maybe that's something we all do. Maybe that's something every single human will do, is try and see the best in that situation. Maybe it's a personality thing. Maybe some of us maybe see that optimistic side a little bit easier than others. But maybe we also see that hope because we're Christians, because we have that hope, because we have a hope that is different to other people. We have a hope that goes beyond our each and every day to a future reality, don't we? And I guess today, as you sit here, as you listen to me, you'll be thinking about the things in life that didn't go according to plan or aren't going according to plan. And you'll think about maybe which one of those three people you are, which one of those perspectives you're coming from. But I wonder if today's Bible reading might help you to remember the hope that we do have as Christians, even when the blessings in our lives do seem incredibly hard to find. Our passage for today was written by Paul, as Josh shared earlier, and it was written to the church of Ephesus, quite a relevant name for the book of Ephesians. He writes to the church with the intention of teaching them the truth about Jesus Christ and the difference that he makes to each and every life. And that the living reality of life in Jesus does really set us apart from the rest of the world. Paul's letter is about letting us know how the life lived for Christ is a life that makes us different to others and the culture around us, and that we're eternally blessed because that is our truth. Now, I don't know about you, but I could perhaps do with a letter on my doorstep reminding me of that truth, probably every day, as a little encouragement of that reality of living under the good news and the gospel of Jesus. It's such a simple and yet deep truth, and it's something that, well, I hope we all will get excited about, right? Are you excited because you have a hope in Jesus? I really hope so. I really hope you are. I hope it encourages you each and every day that you have a hope that can never go away because it's yours. It belongs to you. In fact, in the original Greek, going very theological here, the whole of today's Bible reading, this first bit of Ephesians, is one big long sentence. And I don't know about you, but if you're going to write those big long sentences, it's often because you start rambling, don't you? You write it down, you've got to get it down as quick as you can, and then you don't think about punctuation and where things are supposed to be. And literally, Paul's excitement in writing this out is it's got to be out, he's got to get it out, he's got to write it down. Forget sentences, punctuation, however the Greek's supposed to be. I can't comment because I can't speak or write Greek. But that's something I learned, and I thought, actually, that just shows his enthusiasm with this truth and this reality. And so, of these things which Paul seems to be so very excited about that he just has to tell everybody right now, and he can't stop talking about it, he's just got to say it as fast as he can. The first reality is that we are blessed because we are children of God. This means that we're blessed not because of our efforts or because of how much we love God, but because He chooses to bless us. It's not about what we do, it's about what He does. How incredible is that? And not only do we have nothing, not only does it have nothing to do in the way in which we don't have anything to do with the way in which God chooses to bless us, He blesses us beyond what we physically can comprehend on this earth. Our biggest blessings as Christians, as I've said, as children of God, comes from the reality that the best is yet to come. It is that blessing which Paul cannot keep quiet about, the one that keeps us optimistic and focused on the future. It's the one that, despite our circumstances or lack of perceived blessings in our life, it's the one that keeps us going. Of all those blessings that we've considered today, anything that's come to mind, we know that they will never attain to the fullness that God has promised us to come. And so we receive that blessing then because we are children of God, adopted into God's family. In Roman culture, being adopted meant that you were completely separated from your own life, as if it never even existed, as if you just started as a whole new person, and there was no going back. And being adopted into God's family is the exact same thing. We are completely new people with a completely blank slate. That is what God has done for each of us. Through Jesus' sacrifice on the cross, through his death and his resurrection, we've been born into a whole new way of living. Where we were once lost to the power of sin and values in this world, we are saved by the power of Jesus Christ. Our adoption into God's kingdom completely wipes out our past and makes us new. We move from the family of this world into the family of God. We're redeemed, we're forgiven, we're made new. And that reality is the biggest blessing that we will ever receive, because it's something that we can live in the reality of now, and it's something that we live in the reality which is to come. And so, being blessed in this new way of life, we've been given the gift of the Holy Spirit, which enables us to live a hope-filled, culturally different way of life. Now, the whole premise of being part of the Salvation Army, being a Salvationist, is to set ourselves apart. We're a holiness movement, to be set apart. We are living visibly different lives, to be seen by society as different people living different ways of life, living a holy, hope-filled way of living. I wonder, as Salvationists, as any person here today in the Salvation Army, is that what we look like to the outside world? I wonder. Are we so filled with the reality of the blessing that it just beams out of every fibre of our being? Well, I hope so, but sometimes that's easier said than done, isn't it? So if you're not feeling that way just now, then that's okay. You are forgiven. Because it's never too late to ask God to fill us with that reality in every moment. In fact, it's something we should wake up every day and I say, God, use me to pour out your blessing in this world. Use me as a reflector of your glory, of your grace in this world. According to one commentator, Paul tells us that the experience of the Holy Spirit in this world is a foretaste of the joys and the blessedness of heaven, and that guarantee that someday we will enter into full possession of the bliss and blessedness of God. I thought that sounded quite nice, doesn't it? What a lovely thing. Living in that reality is the greatest peace and joy that we can experience in this world. In fact, of all the blessings that we can experience here on earth, they're simply a whetting of our appetite for what is to come. How incredible is that? And so today, whether you are one of those people who are beaming from ear to ear about the blessings and wonders that God bestows upon you, or whether you are digging really deep to just try and find one that keeps you with your eyes on the goal. I hope that you are able to praise and worship God. I hope you're able to glorify Him for who He is to you, knowing that you are His child, that you are redeemed, that you are loved, that you are filled with His Spirit. And even better things are to come, whether you feel full of blessing or not at all. And for that, you really are well and truly blessed.